It's not every little boy who winds up a hero, but Tyler Moon is not your average 7-year-old kid. We'll give away the ending of this story right now, and it's a happy one, but it begins in disaster. A freak bike accident in the middle of nowhere. Tyler and his dad were critically injured, in excruciating pain and near death. By rights, they should be dead. But this is where love and raw courage came into play. The love of a son for his dad, and his courage, his sheer determination to beat all the odds and save his father's life. You're about to see a family reunion David Moon almost didn't make.
Hey, Dad.
How are you, matey?
Good.
A meeting with the person who saved his life, his son, Tyler.
Love you.
I love you too, mate. I love you. If it wasn't for my boy here, you know where you'd be today, don't you? Burying me.
Critically injured himself, this 7-year-old ignored his own pain to raise the alarm for his dad. He's a real little hero.
He is definitely a hero. You know, I have him to thank for bringing David home and him home. I'm the luckiest woman in the world.
Do you think you're a hero?
Yeah?
Do you?
Yeah.
Why do you think you're a hero?
Because I saved Dad and me.
You did. You really did. You must be very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Jeez, I tell you what, mate. We're lucky. We're lucky it's not bent into a million pieces.
Tyler Moon's a real chip off the old block. And like his dad, he's crazy about motorbikes.
The force of the branch, I don't know how, off another branch, as it's rolled or something, it's all wedged up into the wheel.
Their racetrack is the national park that backs onto their property on the New South Wales south coast. But on the day before Mother's Day, it was the place where they almost died. You've been out on this track so many times.
Yeah, hundreds of times.
So what was the difference?
My number was up for that morning, I think. What's happened, the stick was sitting up a little bit. Normally I just put the front wheels on it, crushes it all down and continue on, but this day, mate, she's obviously clicked into the frame there, used it as a ramming device, jarred into the dirt, and you can see what's happened. It's just sent us straight over the handlebars. It's just been an absolute freak accident.
David Moon says it was simply bad luck. In an instant, a bit of fun turned into calamity.
It was as if I just hit a brick wall. It just come to a complete sudden stop. Before I knew it, my face was into the ground.
Over he went, and the bike landed on top of it. Me and Dad.
I knew something major was wrong, yes. And I could feel my stomach blowing out, like getting larger and larger, so I knew I had some problem.
They were in the middle of the bush, 2 kilometres from help, and while David knew he was bleeding internally, he had no idea of Tyler's list of injuries. Somehow he managed to get the bike off his son, and then they struggled to their feet. What did Dad decide to do after you got the bike off you?
Started to walk home.
I knew we had a fair distance to walk to get back to where we had to get back to, and I kept saying to Tyler the whole time, if I happen to fall down and go to sleep, just keep going and get Mum. Just go and get Mum.
In agony, they managed to stumble almost 1.5 kilometres until the pain became too much for David. So this is where you couldn't go any further?
This is the spot, Mike. I just laid down like I am right now, mate. And that was the end of that. Couldn't walk another step.
You collapsed here?
Absolutely collapsed.
They were now 500 metres from help, but it may as well have been 500 kilometres. And David's life now rested on Tyler's tiny shoulders. How did you feel about sending your badly injured 7-year-old son on ahead of you?
Well, I knew it was the only chance I had, really. My brain said go, but my body said you're going nowhere. So I just said to Tyler, I said, you've got to go and get help. You have to get help.
And still, his father had no idea just how close Tyler was to death.
I suppose it's hard to get across how bad his injuries were, but he did have, most of the ribs on the left-hand side of his chest broken. He had a chest full of blood on that side, plus punctured lungs on both sides. I mean, they're excruciatingly painful injuries.
Rob Turner was the doctor on duty with the Care Flight rescue helicopter on the day of the crash.
I don't know. I know when I saw Tyler first up, my initial thoughts was there was probably about a 50% chance, even with treatment, that he was going to die. So that was my initial assessment.
So just imagine how Tyler must have been feeling as he struggled home alone to get help for his dad. Were you in a lot of pain?
Yeah.
And what about your breathing? How were you breathing? So could you have walked the 2 kilometres?
I don't think so. I think I would have been lucky to have walked 10 metres with injuries like that.
And what did you keep telling yourself?
I've got to get Mum.
I've got to get Mum, I've got to help Dad. Is that what you kept saying?
Yeah.
How was Tyler's condition when he finally made it back to you here?
He was pale. He was pale and he was out of breath. At no time did I think Tyler's condition was as serious as what it was.
That his lungs were filling with blood?
I had no idea whatsoever.
Gail Moon was on the phone to her girlfriend when she saw Tyler collapse in the backyard.
Dad said to call an ambulance.
That's all he said to you?
That's all he said to me. Dad needs it. Dad said to tell you to get an ambulance.
And of course, throughout all this, he was more concerned with his dad's safety than his own, wasn't he?
At all times he was, where's Dad? Have you rang the ambulance? And are we going to the hospital? And he knew that once we got help, I'm sure he felt he was going to be all right.
I've been with Care Flight for 9 years now. Tyler's actions are right up there. Probably the most heroic action I've seen, to look after both himself and his father.
Once he was here in intensive care at the Sydney Children's Hospital in Randwick, you didn't have to be a doctor to know just how lucky Tyler was.
A brave little guy. How's those ribs? Are they still pretty painful?
His broken left arm and shoulder and 9 busted ribs were bad enough, but 2 punctured lungs meant he came very close to drowning in his own blood.
It's amazing that he could walk 2 kilometres with the amount of injury that he sustained to his lung. The mechanics of breathing really require that you have a chest that is encircled in a stable chest wall, and that wasn't the case with Tyler.
You've lost part of your liver, haven't you?
I certainly have.
Next door at the Prince of Wales Hospital, surgeons removed David's spleen and repaired his mangled liver. You're so lucky to be alive, aren't you?
Mate, my son's the one that I can thank. If it wasn't for him, mate, we'd be today.
You've no doubt about that, you'd be dead.
No doubt at all.
How does that make you feel?
I couldn't ask for a better friend.
And that's what you are. You really are as much father and son as you are best mates, aren't you?
Yeah. I've got mates and that, but I never thought having a son, you could have a friend that good.
We're going home! Yay!
10 days after the accident, Tyler Moon walked out of hospital a celebrity, described in the media here and overseas as the bravest boy in the world. But coming to terms with newfound fame can be daunting, especially when your schoolmates have 1,000 questions.
Hi, Tyler. Give him a big clap.
What sort of injuries did you and your dad have? 7 broken ribs for me, and a broken scapula and a broken arm. Will you ever go on the motorbike again? I am, but Dad's not. He's selling his.
Now, of course, the adulation's nice, and while the whole family's smiling about the outcome, there's certainly a valuable lesson to be learned from this near-death experience. David and Tyler Moon broke the rules, and as far as Gail's concerned, boys will be boys is no excuse.
They weren't safety conscious at all, to be perfectly honest. Normally when they go out, they're all suited up. Suit of armour, boots, helmets, a whole lot. But this particular morning, they jumped on that bike and off they went.
No helmets?
No helmets.
And doubling?
And doubling.
David, should you have been doubling with Tyler, someone his age?
To the manufacturer's sign on the bike, no, I shouldn't have. It stipulates very clear, must have a helmet, no doubling, and must be over 16 years of age.
All three of which you broke?
All three cardinal rules I broke and was punished severely for.
So have you read the Riot Act?
I have read the Riot Act, and that wasn't the first time I've read the Riot Act, but now they might actually listen to me.
2 weeks after they first met, how different the circumstances are this time.
Mister, thank you very, very much.
And Gail and Ellie. Care fighters dropped in to check on two very lucky patients.
Oh, we had those little holes put in. Let's have a look. Oh, geez. Not bad for a bloke who's not a surgeon. Let's have a look at
What's so good about Tyler Moon's story is it reinforces the view that we are all capable of greatness when we're really up against it. And Dr. Rob Turner is in no doubt. Tyler's love for his dad gave him that greatness.
I suppose, when you're that close to somebody, you'll do what you have to do to save their life, and I think that's what, Tyler did.
So what do we do about his heroic actions?
Well, I'm certainly going to be nominating him for a bravery award, and I'd feel very comfortable that he deserved it. He's a terrific little chap, and was really quite amazing that he did what he did.
Rob, that's from us just to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
After being with the Moons for the last couple of weeks, it's so refreshing to see such a happy ending. David and Tyler's wounds will heal, and the family will continue to be just that, a whole family.
Say
The
thanks.
quad bike.
Have you had a quiet moment, you, Gail and Tyler, just a bit of a huddle together?
We did the other night when we got home and realised just how lucky we were to still be a unit.
So what did you say to each other?
Try and do the right thing from now on with each other. We go hard as a family unit from sun up till sundown. Like, whoever knows us says we've got rockets in our bums. We make the most of every second of our lives to the fullest.
But you just got to do it carefully.
Yeah, for sure.
So what kept you going?
I don't know.
I know.
What?
You got a big heart, and you're a brave boy. And you wanted to save your dad. That's what
Yeah.
kept you going, didn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes, segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.